When will you guys realize that women that are fully obsessed with men are shit friends? They're gonna do you dirty, they're gonna put you in terrible situations for male validation, and they're genuinely just not great girlfriends.
Hello, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be discussing how male-centered women or boy-crazy women make the worst friends. I think this is something that most people experience. I've definitely experienced it in my life, and I'm actually going to save my commentary to the end of the video, and I'm also going to share an experience with a male-centered friend that I had when I was younger, and it was so bad I've literally not even bothered to be friends with women since, which I hope to change. But yeah, for me, being male-centered is a huge red flag when it comes to female friendships. And with that being said, let's get into the video.
I am a girl's girl through and through, and I have been looking for a best friend for like the past.
Okay, I don't know who this young lady is, but I had a chance to watch your entire video, and you seem like the sweetest girl ever, honestly, and you're so pretty. However, I gotta be honest with you, okay? This might hurt, but it's gonna help you. The reason why it's hard for you to find friends, like female friends, as well as sustain those friendships is because a lot of women are male identified. Yep, I said it. And you're gonna notice this as you get older. When those friends that you have get into a relationship, or if a man starts giving them attention, pay very close attention to that. Because sometimes what happens is that their personality, their entire existence and livelihood is going to be centered around that very man. And when that happens, you go from being a friend to a placeholder very quickly. I couldn't snap my finger. That was really awkward. But anyways, you go from being a friend to a placeholder. And when you're a placeholder, that girl is only going to come to you, and she's only going to want to see you and hang out with you whenever there is drama, toxicity, and turmoil currently occurring in that relationship. You will be a therapist. You will be the comforter, and it's going to happen repetitively. And if you find that it's happening on a repetitive basis, you need to take a step back and really analyze and assess where your friendship stands. And it's sad because I've had to do this with a few girlfriends, and it hurts knowing that you were only there just to be the therapist, nothing more. Just, I need you because my man and I are having issues. I don't know what to do. I can't find solutions, blah, 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 blah. And it becomes so repetitive to the point where it's really going to start to mess with you emotionally, and you're going to feel exhausted and depleted. And when that happens, like I said, that's where you need to assess where your friendship stands. And something I've noticed about male identified women who constantly feel the need to hyperfixate themselves around the concept of marriage, the concept of being with a man, or just men, period, I find that when they center those men, they have no time and they don't have the capacity to be able to center themselves. And what happens is that when they center those men, their lives are chaotic. It is filled with drama, it is just traumatic, and it's always resulting in turmoil. Like there's no middle ground and there's no peace. And mind you, I'm coming from a very observational perspective, and I'm also coming to you from experience. Women who center men, they don't know how to center themselves. Whereas women who do center themselves and remove themselves from the outcome of marriage, being a mom, and focus on other outlets where they can prioritize themselves, those women are so at peace. They are so at peace. They are able to find other outlets where they can not only center themselves, but also find opportunities to connect with other women who are also decentering men. And that's where you need to start vetting, okay? I know there's a lot of advice on social media that talks about, oh, well, you know, you got to vet this man. You got to ask him these questions, whoop-de-whoop, blah, 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 blah. But what's missing is that you also need to apply that same vetting energy into your friendships. And in moments like this, I become very grateful because I have a couple of girlfriends who have completely decentered men. And I gotta tell you, nothing feels more liberating and peaceful than being able to hang out with your girlfriends, sit down and talk about things that do not involve what a man did, what a man said, and just putting him on a pedestal to the point where that's all that you can talk about. We talk about goals, we talk about hobbies, we talk about where we want to see ourselves and things that we've undergone and the lessons that we've learned. And we can just go out and say, you know what, let's do this, or let's try something new, right? It just feels so good to have that. And I find that as a woman, when you center yourself, okay, that's when men want you. I mean, the real ones, you know what I'm saying? That's when they really want you, because they're like, oh snap, she's not putting me on a pedestal. She ain't chasing me around. She ain't acting all crazy, hoop-de-hoop ha. She's got some good things going for herself. Like, let me chase her, you know? Because that's what they're supposed to do. Men are hunters by nature, okay? So baby girl, I've been in your shoes, and just know that it gets better, but there needs to be awareness, and there also needs to be a vetting process, okay? Because like I said, you always vet the men, but you don't vet the homegirls that you just met, right? So just kind of sit back, ask questions, and just kind of get an understanding of who these women are before you fully give yourself to the idea of a friendship, okay? And the good news is that just from what I'm seeing on social media and just from conversations that I've had with other women, women are also waking up and have realized that, look, me centering myself around this guy, me trying to find a husband, like, I need to just step the hell back and just focus on myself. And then that's when everything's going to fall into place. And that is something, girl, that I think you need to do. Take a step back and it'll all fall into place. Center yourself and let things happen organically. Okay?
You need to be friends with women who don't center men around their whole life. Like, I will gladly talk to you about men and relationships, but if that's the only thing that we talk about when we meet, I don't want to talk about it. Like, give me something else. Like, what do you have, hobbies? Like,
I totally get what you mean.
Yeah.
I think every girl loves to like kiki, chat
100%.
about like
dating
and boys and like
Yeah.
all of these things. Yes, obviously that's like, gossiping is part of what makes womanhood. But I think that gets to a point where it's like, if the only thing that we can talk about is men, it's boring. What else is there now besides boys? Because sometimes I don't want to do that. Sometimes I don't want to talk about boys.
Sometimes they're interesting, but sometimes they're not. So, like, we need to have a different conversation. But like I said, I am more than happy to talk about it, you know? But it just cannot be something every time we meet. That's the only thing that we talk
And
about.
also,
Women who are extremely male-centered will never truly be your friend. I've literally had girls, when I'm trying to make plans with them, they will wait until the last possible second to confirm because they're waiting to see if a guy they just met will text them back. And this guy is not like their soulmate or something. They will do this for literally any guy because their self-worth revolves around what guys think of them. They will be jealous of you and they'll treat everything like a competition for the male gaze. I've known women who are absolutely beautiful. They should have no reason to feel like I'm their competition, but they will still find ways to put you down and embarrass you because they crave male attention that bad. But the number one reason I can't be friends with girls that are extremely male-centered is because you just can't have a good night out with them without involving men in some way. And like, that can definitely be fun, but some days you just want to have a girls' night. But girls that are male-centered will be like, oh, let's go over to that guy's table. Let's go back to this guy's place. And it's like, no, we don't need to involve random men to have fun. Also, it's extremely dangerous to be going off of random guys you don't know. If you try to get me to leave a public place to go over to some random man's apartment, I'm sorry, I'm out. We literally don't know who these guys are. Why are we putting ourselves in a dangerous situation just for some attention? Like, are we really that desperate? I've joked about this before, like, your conversations with your friends need to be able to pass the Bechdel test, but it's literally true. If every conversation you're having is revolving around some guy or like how to get male attention, then that girl is too male-centered and she's never going to be a good friend to you. Also, speaking from experience, if this girl does get a boyfriend, it's going to be the end of your friendship. And I know people are going to say, obviously I'm going to hang out with my boyfriend more than my friends, like, I love him. And I'm not saying you can't hang out with your boyfriend all the time. time. Obviously, if you like them a lot, you should hang out with them, but there's a difference between hanging out with your boyfriend and completely ditching your friends because you got a boyfriend. I've found that girls that do this, they'll still keep you in arm's reach so that they can still talk to you when they're having drama with their boyfriend. So they'll basically use you as a therapist when they need it, but when things are going good, it's radio silence. I had to cut a girl off as a friend because I felt so used by her. When we were friends, it didn't matter if we made plans like 2.5 weeks in advance. If her boyfriend texted her like 10 minutes before we were supposed to hang out, she would just cancel the plans immediately. But if her and her boyfriend were having problems, I was the first person that she would call. But that girl clearly did not view me as a friend. She viewed me as a therapist for her. And yes, you can totally be there for your friends, but when your friend's whole life revolves around a man and you're just there to give her validation when things aren't going well, then there's no actual friendship there. Okay, that's all for today. Bye, guys.
When will you guys realize that women that are fully obsessed with men are shit friends? They're gonna do you dirty, they're gonna put you in terrible situations for male validation, and they're genuinely just not great girlfriends. They have no morals when it comes to friendship. They don't care about like girl code. Their entire life and like their whole goals are just set on getting male validation and getting male attention and just being with a man constantly. I'm bringing this up because I've had previous friendships that I've had to cut off because of this. But also, a little quick story time. So my friend last night went out with this girl who we both know, but I've just kind of distanced myself because at this point I can quickly see what type of woman you are, and as soon as I like notice that weird obsession with men, I don't even bother. I'm good. But anyways, she's a little more forgiving, I guess. I don't really know, but she didn't really care for that, so she stayed friends with her, and last night those two girls decided to go out together, right? Just the two of them, mind you, two. So if you leave with two, you come back with two, right? Of course, I already kind of figured this would happen, and I told the girl, but she was just like, oh, but she's nice, like, da-da, and I was like, okay, it's okay. I'm not trying to start a hate train, I'm just letting you know, like, that's the type of vibe I'm getting. But my friend decided to stay friends with her, right? So they go out together last night, just the two of them, and at 2 a.m. I'm getting a call, and my friend is crying, and she's like, you will not believe what this girl did to me, you will not believe the jokes she cracked about me in front of men, you'll not believe all this shit she did, and now I'm Ubering home by myself because she left with one of the guys. Yeah, so isn't that crazy? I'm not even on the I told you so type of energy. It's just like, I knew it. I literally know when women are weirdly obsessed with men and they put their friends in weird situations and they don't even consider you a friend. They just consider you like a little pawn that they can just play around with just for Joseph to, you really like her, I guess. I don't know. It's so stupid. I really don't understand it. But this is why I say be selective with your friends and understand when girls have zero goals other than men, when they call you, all they're talking about is their men issues. These women are genuinely insane. Like, they need help. They need help. At this grown-ass age of 20 years old, and this is the shit you're on, you have no goals, you have no job, you literally just, all you care about is men. So, moral of the story is, as a woman, I feel like you should be selective with the people that you're friends with already, but especially be selective with girls that just revolve their entire world around men. Girls that literally will put you in uncomfortable or even dangerous situations, in this case for men. And now my friend's heartbroken because she's like, how could you do that to me? Like, how could she do that to me? And I'm just like, because that's all they care about is getting some penis. Like, it's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. I promise you it's not worth it. And if you're like me and you're like, oh, I can just help this person, like, if they find self-love and they have standard, like, I'm sure they'll be good. Like, you can try and help them. It's not gonna work, babe. You're wasting your breath because they'll come to you for advice about a man. You'll give them advice. You'll tell them, stand up, girl. Like, that man is insane. Because it's not like they're with good men either. These men will do them dirty as hell and they'll still be with that man. But then they'll come to you for advice. You'll give them advice. You'll give them fantastic advice. They'll go do the opposite and then come crying to you again about how they should have listened to you. It's genuinely the most exhausting shit ever. And if you know, you know. Like, I know it may sound like, oh, like, maybe I'm the bad friend and I'm not there for them. But you guys, there's no helping. There's no helping. You really just they have to figure that shit out themselves. But until then, don't waste your breath. Don't be friends with those type of girls because they will do you dirty and they will put you in crazy ass situations like the one that my friend was in last night. And also, like, I'm the type of girl that, like, wants to, like, do shit with my friends. Like, I want to start a business. I want to, like, go to networking events with you. I want to apply for jobs together. I want to help practice interviewing each other. They're not about doing anything career related. They're not about literally doing anything that does not revolve around men or going out, or both. There's just no point in being friends with a person like that. They only bring you down, and they only stress you out, and they only put you in shit situations. This is my PSA for women that are like that. Please work on your fucking self and have some damn decorum and standard. Jeez. It's exhausting to have a friend like that. Genuinely, it's not even a friend. Like, it's a one-sided friendship too, because you'll do all these things for them, you'll care for them, you'll advise them, because, you know, like, when I'm in a friendship, like, I really fully, like, care for that person, so I'm gonna want the best for them. And they'll take, and that's it, just to do the same shit that they've always been doing. So yeah, this is your reminder to just be selective with the people that you surround yourself with. And when you see a red flag, even in friendship, don't ignore it, because it's there for a reason. And you're not a bitch for being selective about your friends and the people you surround yourself with. You're actually being smart, and it's the right thing to do. Oh yeah, be selective, and don't befriend weird ass women that'll put you in uncomfortable ass situations for some peen. It's nasty. Okay, that's all I have to say. I just really needed to rant and get that out of my system, because I've been trying to tell her. I told you, but I won't say it yet. Okay, bye guys.
Maybe this makes me not a girl's girl, but one thing about me is I cannot be friends with male-centered girls. If we're friends and our hangouts are just centered around us just talking about men, respectfully, I can't do it. Spray, spray, spray. If we're out at the bar, the club, whatever, and your mood and whether we had a good time or not is determined by how many men talked to you that night, or if men came up to you, whatever, it's not gonna work, babe. If you're continuously putting yourself in harm's way or just like compromising situations to go be with men or whatever, I don't think that's like quirky, or it's like it's for the plot. I think that's like behavior that you might want to look into, to be honest. Because I just think if you're out with your girls and you're just like running off to go be with some random man that like you just met, not only are you putting yourself in danger, but you're literally putting your girls in danger. And something else that I will just like always stand by is there is absolutely no reason for you to get a boyfriend and just like ditch your friends. Because I've been with my boyfriend for almost 7 years now, and there is not a single friend who will tell you, yeah, like Beyonce just like ditched us, she started hanging out with me less as soon as she got her boyfriend. Because respectfully, you need your girls. You need friendship. Your boyfriend cannot be like the sole thing, the sole person in your life. I will say it is a totally different situation though if it's like it was a toxic friendship and your boyfriend helped you realize that like you're in a toxic situation with your friends. That's different. Kudos to him. Good for you. But otherwise, think about it, babes. But just in general, I just feel like you should want more out of your friendships and just like getting together just to like center men and talk about men and think about how to get men. I just feel like there is just way more to life than that. And I simply will just never be able to trust you because I know you thrive off the validation of men. So what will you say about me, or what will you do to get that validation? I don't want to be there to find out. So I don't know about you guys, but I simply just cannot be friends with a girl who just like centers men. I can't do it.
Please listen when I tell you a male-centered woman will never be your true friend. And this is why I can't stand those conversations when people are like, oh, I'm almost this age, time to get married, time to have kids, oh, I'm doing nothing else in my life, time to jump in a relationship I'm not happy with. Stop, okay? I know y'all hate to have these conversations because you think everybody is just a bitter, miserable hag who's single and doesn't have anybody, but it's not even about that. It's about your dignity, because what are you doing? Having people on rosters that you don't even like just for the sake of having a roster? What? I say these women will never be your friends because they only get their validation from men showing them any semblance of attention. That means when you go out, it's going to be a subtle competition of who can get the most stares, who can get the most looks. Ooh, I wonder what men are out tonight. Ooh, da 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 da. Like, it's always going to be about a man. These people have no substance outside of that. And I'm sorry, I don't actually believe that. I feel like they have so much more they can dig down deep into and like learn about themselves, but they present themselves and they behave as if the only thing they have to look forward to is a man texting them something. You will probably be the last option when it comes to hanging out. They will probably only hang out with you when their little date with their mediocre man fell through. They'll hang out with you when it's time to talk about all of the fuck shit that's going on in their relationship. Because, you know, they have to dump on their friends and not the person they're sharing bodily fluids with. Because, no, that's too much. No, that's what their friends are for. 9 times out of 10, they're talking shit behind their friends' backs. Because remember, kids, if somebody can talk shit to you, they are certainly talking shit about you. And you know what? A lot of us, when we were younger, we had a lot of friends. Maybe we were a little male identified ourselves because we haven't taken the time to unpack that internalized misogyny that we have going on. Some of these people never do that work. Some of these people don't have the self-awareness to like be like, oh, wait a minute, I care a little bit too much about what these men think about me. And when I was younger, maybe I would let that slide. You could talk about the same old ain't shit man 50 times in a row, because you know what? I was probably doing the same thing too, because I didn't have the wherewithal. I didn't have this thing turned on, my frontal lobe. So that's fine. My late 20s, no, I don't have any patience, and you can call me mean, you can call me strict. I don't care. I'm strict when it comes to the people I date. I'm strict when it comes to the people I hang out with, because you're not about to talk my ear off about the same shit over and over and over again. You got it. I like mature people who care about themselves and who center themselves. So if that's you, be my friend.
Can't be friends with women who are boy crazy and obsessed with male attention.
Okay, no, but can we talk about this one? Because no offense if the shoe fits, but women who are boy crazy are a liability, and quite frankly, they not your friends for real. Women who prioritize male acceptance and validation over everything will do quite literally anything to get it, including throwing you, their friend, under the bus, trying to embarrass you to make them look better, and in worst case scenarios, putting you and your safety at risk, for example, leaving you alone at a party to go be with a guy. Not to mention, their only contribution to their friendship is them talking about guys relentlessly and usually being extremely self-centered, because all they want to talk about is the guys you're talking to and the problems that come with it. Unfortunately, these women find their identity in their proximity to males, and it's sad to see and be around. But as sad as it may be to see, that ain't my problem to fix, okay? I make sure to steer clear of women who are very much boy crazy, because the character Cassie isn't just on a TV show, she's in real life too, okay?
Being male-centered is so cutesy as a teenager. Oh, I'm boy crazy. Once you turn 21, baby, just go ahead and let it go. Because the male-centered women are the women with 10 kids and 16 baby daddies. They're not able to get anywhere in life, because when other people are worried about their goals, their dreams, their ambitions, school, etc., their degree, all you're worried about is Charlie and who he was with last night. Being male-centered as an adult will turn you into a loser with nothing to show for your life. This might sound mean, I might be harsh. You're not being a girl's girl. Certain messages don't need to be delivered warm and fluffy. It really don't. Like, you being male-centered at 21, you're a loser. You don't have nothing to show for yourself. No goals, no dreams, no ambitions. Just want to be on the side of a man, like a PS5 controller on the man's lap. Wake up, sister. Your life is passing you by. And y'all know me, y'all know I love my man. But my goals, my dreams, my ambitions, my career always come before a relationship. A man could wake up and walk out of your life today. Your degree will have your name on it forever. The accomplishments that you're able to get under your belt will be there forever. Your accomplishments are lifelong. A relationship might not be.
Being in my early 20s has taught me one thing. The worst type of female friends you can carry around is the ones that do anything for male validation. Or the girls who are just boy crazy, period. Those type of girls will do anything to embarrass you in front of men. Every time y'all go out, you guys are secretly competing. The friendships don't last, because as soon as they get a man, whether it's their boyfriend or not, they're going to up and leave. And then they're going to come back around once they don't got nobody again. And they're so emotionally draining, because every conversation they have is going to be about a man. Anything you guys do, they're going to make it about a man. I remember one time about 3 years ago, I had this one girl that I tried to hang out with. We're going to call her Ivy. So Ivy asked me to hang out, and as soon as we started hanging out, she started talking about her boy problems, which is fine. I'm a girl's girl. Let's listen. When I tell you this boy did Ivy so dirty, like was just playing this girl's face the whole time. Like, I can't even get into much details about the story, but just know this boy was playing her in her face, and she still liked him. She knew the boy was not right for her, but she would still ask me like, what you think I should do? What you think I should do? And I told her, block him, leave him alone, stop entertaining him. He's not worth your time. You know, this girl did not like my answer. Mind you, it took her about 15 minutes to tell me the whole story. Called somebody else while we were supposed to be hanging out and told them the whole story. Now I'm just walking next to her while she's talking to somebody else on the phone while she's telling the whole story. She didn't like their answer too, so she hung up the phone, and now we're talking. While we're walking, I don't remember where we were walking to. I think we were getting pizza or something. He was just like, oh my God, girl, you ain't see them boys looking at you? You don't see them boys looking at you? And I'm like, no. She was like, girl, he looked back at you and everything. And I'm like, well, I don't be paying attention to stuff like that when I'm outside. She was just like, damn, like, why do I never get, like, a man to look at me? And I'm like, I don't, like, maybe you don't notice it. I was like, maybe you don't notice it, like, the way I don't be noticing. She was like, no, girl, like, they don't ever be looking at me. And I didn't know what to say. Like, what the fuck? Fast forward, she invited 2 of her male friends, and we were all walking and talking, chit-chatting. But every time I said something, she tried to make me look stupid in front of the guys. Whether she was trying to point out how skinny I am, talking about, oh, Khalid, you need to eat more, you need to eat more. Or, like, I would say something, she'd be like, nah, that's mad dumb. Girl, what the fuck are we talking about? Like, are you picking on me right now? So after the 3rd time, I started getting irritated. We were walking past a museum. I'm like, oh, let's go into this museum. She was like, nah, that looked mad childish, da-da-da. But the guys was like, oh, that actually looked mad fun, let's go. As soon as the guy said, let's go, she like, all right, bet, let's go. We went in the museum. The museum was closing, so we got a whole bunch of free stuff. We got free tickets inside the museum. We got free candy. They was giving us free samples. We had a great time. But we were the only people in there. Now we're going to fast forward to when we started having dinner, because this is the part where I really snapped. We're all in Shake Shack, and we're sitting down eating our food. And the guy starts asking me questions, trying to get to know me better. And they're like, oh, you know, how old are you? This, that, third. At the time, I think I was only 19. But all of them were like 22, 23, 24. I told them how I just moved into the city, how I just got my own apartment, and how I'm talking to a guy at the moment. I think I really like him. So I told him about our first date, and she was just like, how do you like a guy that you just met? Girl, when I tell y'all, I clocked the fuck out of her, because I'm like, you talking to a guy that you know had a girlfriend, is cheating on you, and you let him sleep in your house, bitch. And I told her, I don't like the fact that you've been trying to point shit out about me all fucking night. She was like, oh, why would you say that? I was only fucking with you. I really poured my heart out to you, and you just gonna throw it in my face to try to embarrass me? Bitch, you've been trying to embarrass me all night. Now we're fucking even Steven. Then try to have her friends call me talking about, oh, I should apologize to her. Bitch, fuck you. I never hung out with that girl again. Those girls that be boy crazy will do anything to embarrass you in front of a man. They will always compete with you secretly about a man. Don't let it be you. Lock in and cut them bitches off.
Red flags for friends, like when they're boy crazy. And I mean boy crazy in a way that's like would leave their friend for a guy, like centers their life around men, the male gaze, like don't want to, also might even like put you down a little bit in front of friends, like, like how long does it take you to do your makeup? Like I could never, just like in general, like their whole life revolves on how they're being perceived. Like a pick-me girl, but in general, they're just boy crazy. Their life revolves around men. Like everything about them is male-centered, male validation, male acceptance. Yuck, girl. Get a life, get something, get like some internal validation.
You're a girl's girl, but every time a group of boys comes around, you have to dog your girls out just to get attention. You're a girl's girl, but you're the type to leave your girl stranded in the middle of a motive just to go home and sleep with a random boy that you just met that night. You're a girl's girl, but you'll let your girls leave the house looking a mess just so that you're the prettiest girl in the group. You're a girl's girl, but you pillow talk about all your girls to the new guy that you're chatting to that month. You're a girl's girl, but every single time you come around your friends' guys, you're giving them the eyes. You're a girl's girl, but you laugh with men about another girl's appearance. You're a girl's girl. If your friend was to tell you that one of your friends, that's a boy, touched her inappropriately, you will automatically take the man's side and say that she's lying. If any of those apply to you, then I'm here to tell you that unfortunately you are not a girl's girl. Wrap it up. Actually, don't just pack it up. Pack it up and figure out why you gravitate to men more than women. Do the groundwork, build the foundation, and fix a new house.
I feel like this is going to sound mean, but being friends with an insecure girl can be one of the worst experiences. Specifically, insecure girls who really crave male attention. The issue is they will always be in a competition with you. It doesn't matter like how pretty they are, how much they have, they will always want to tear you down and take from you. I dealt with this one girl who I thought was a really close friend. We were friends for like 4 years, I think. And at first it wasn't very noticeable because I literally looked up to her. I was like, wow, she's so pretty and she has everything. Everybody likes her, she's smart. And it wasn't until years later after I finally cut her off that I realized how toxic she was. So we usually hung out in a group of 3, and the first red flag was whenever the other girl had a crush and she expressed it, this girl would immediately start pursuing that guy, even though she had no connection to him prior. The other friend only ever had crushes on guys that she was already friends with, but this other girl had no connection to him him until her friend was interested in him, and then all of a sudden she's messaging him. She actually ended up dating 3 of those guys that my friend had a crush on. The other friend just was like, okay, whatever. I think the other friend valued the friendship more than a guy, so she wasn't like willing to let a guy get in between their relationship. Anyway, I never really expressed interest in dating to her because, I mean, look at the way she acts. I also wasn't really interested in dating at the time, like it was just not a priority for me. One day she asked me about this and I said I haven't really felt the need to date. And after that, she went around speculating about my sexuality. I remember there was this one guy who she thought was really cute, and one day he told her he thought I was cute. I was not interested in this guy at all. This actually really upset her, and she came to me and said, like, I think it's so funny that he thinks you're cute. That made me feel really bad about myself because I was like, oh, she thinks I'm ugly. She thinks that it's funny that somebody would find me cute. And that's where you can really see our perceptions were different, because while she valued so much how men perceived her, I really valued her opinion. So her telling me that affected me more than him saying that I was cute. She would always be trying to compete with me. This goes for everything, like even career path, like classes I was taking. Like no matter what, she was always in a competition with me. It was so exhausting. It's like she was always trying to prove to herself that she was better than me, prettier than me. Looking back, I do wonder why I stayed friends with her for so long. There's really only so much you can take from a friendship, and she's one of those dangerous types of friends who tears apart your confidence. And that's why I've sworn off being friends with insecure girls who care too much about what men think of.
Hey, so I'm back with my final thoughts, and before I get into it, I just wanted to say that I love this topic. I agree with all of these TikToks, and I think this is really important information to share, especially to women who are younger and don't realize it. Like, there are just certain red flags that you should look out for in friendships, and you should vet your friends. And I do think that this is something that a lot of women go through, especially if you grew up feeling insecure. So don't feel bad about yourself if you've been male centered in the past. Some women grow out of it as they gain more life experience, but a lot of women don't, and this is why we need to look out for this. Just speaking from my own experience back when I was younger and I was definitely more male centered, I'll admit that I actually didn't value my friends at the time. I definitely would have picked a man over my friends, and I thought that it wasn't a big deal. I thought that everybody did that and people would understand, and that I could just make new friends. And looking back, I honestly don't know where I got that from. That's really strange. And now that I'm older, I can honestly say that I feel the complete opposite. And I have to agree with what the creators said about how when you're still male centered, when you're a grown woman, you are a loser. It doesn't matter what these women have accomplished before, it doesn't matter what they're doing now. They don't have any goals for the future. If they don't have a man in their life, or they don't have, like, they're not getting a lot of male attention, then they're not happy. I've had acquaintances like this recently, and they literally didn't do anything. They had no hobbies, no real interests, no goals, and no personal values. So it was really hard to connect to them. Like, all of our conversations were really shallow, and we had pretty much nothing in common. All we could really talk about was men. I also agree with what was said about male centered women being unhealthy, about them being like not very sane or like stable, because it's true. Like, these women are very, very insecure. Most likely, these issues started from childhood, and this is the real reason why they're not your real friends, because their insecurities override the need to have healthy, fulfilling relationships, which is why they'll throw you under the bus. And I think that this is the best case scenario. Like, your friendships with these kinds of women are boring and shallow, and you don't have anything real in common, and they're not really your friends. But the worst case scenario is that these women are actually dangerous because they see you as competition, and they might try to sabotage you, especially when it comes to men and relationships. They will abandon you, whether you're out at a club or you're at a party or something. Like, they will abandon you for the opportunity to go and be with a guy that she likes. And worst of all, they might even set you up to, have to deal with her man's friends or something. Like, she will literally use you as a sacrifice in order to impress this guy. Women like this also make bad mothers because they will essentially neglect their children or abuse their children, or allow the man, whether it's the kid's biological dad or whether he's like a boyfriend or a stepdad or something, she will just sit back and let him abuse the children because in her mind, like, having an abusive man is better than being single. She is that insecure, she is that desperate. So yeah, male-centered women are a genuine threat to women who are healthy, who are happy, who just want to kind of, get on with life. And this brings me to my final point, is that women like this choose the most trash men to be with, and there's always some kind of drama. They will use you as a therapist to complain to about him. They'll ask you for advice, but they'll never actually take your advice or leave him because, again, she is that desperate. And you'll have to listen to the same stories and the same problems and arguments over and over and over. And it is honestly exhausting and just not worth dealing with. And this brings me to my story about a very male centered friend that I had in my early 20s. This is one of the main reasons why I stopped being friends with this girl, because when she did this, this really, really annoyed me. But we would go out, we would go to like a bar or to a club or something, and she would go and get drinks and she would come back with some guy. And my friend was in university at the time and she also struggled to keep jobs. So there were many times like I assumed that she'd bumped into somebody that she knew. And then she would basically introduce him to us, act like she knew him, and then she would like slip away with another friend and leave him with me. And it was only later I was like, "Oh, so who was that?" And she was like, "Oh, I don't know. I just met him at the bar." And I tried to explain to her like two times why that was like not appropriate and how that was potentially dangerous, and she did not care. She thought I was being overdramatic. Her excuse was, "But that's how you make friends." And I was like, "No, that's not how you make friends because you're like introducing them, but then you're leaving him with me. So how is this you making friends?" That's such a stupid excuse. But yeah, she really didn't take my concerns seriously, and that was one of the main reasons why I stopped being friends with her. But another reason why I stopped being friends with her was because she was a complete hypocrite. So this girl had a boyfriend, and another one of the girls in the group was talking to a guy who wasn't single. And this girl would go on these really weird rants about how awful cheating was and how how hurtful it is and how like no one deserves to go through that, which is fine, which is totally like respectable if it wasn't for the fact that she cheated on her boyfriend in front of us on multiple occasions. We would go out and she would like be flirting with guys, giving her number out to other guys, and even kissed a guy like right in front of us. Meanwhile, like, this other girl, anytime that she brought up the fact that she was speaking to this guy that wasn't single, this girl would go off and talk about how wrong cheating is. But we literally saw her cheating in real time. And there were even times when she sent me screenshots of her talking to another guy about meeting up for sex. And I called her out one time. I was like, "Why are you talking to this guy when you've got a boyfriend?" And she was like, "Oh, well, my boyfriend doesn't treat me very well, but I don't do well on my own." But the final straw for me was the fact that, like, every time she spoke about her boyfriend, she would talk about how awful he was, how disrespectful he was, how he never made an effort to see her, and how he was like, she thought he was talking to other girls and stuff, which was fine. But then I find out that she's been telling her boyfriend all of my business, and she almost started drama between me and somebody else that I know because she was telling him stuff that I had told her that I thought she was going to keep, to herself. And the word got back to somebody about something that I'd said. And I was like, "Why would you tell your boyfriend, who you know that I don't like, all of my business?" And she was like, "Oh, well, he's my boyfriend. I have to tell him." I'm like, your boyfriend who you cheat on? Your boyfriend who treats you like crap? Like, it was honestly insane and not worth dealing with. So I decided that I couldn't be friends with this girl anymore, and I've never looked back on that and regretted my decision to end that friendship, because she was just so inconsistent, so lacking in integrity, and I just can't be bothered with the drama. But yeah, this is everything that I have to say on this topic. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you for watching. If you like this kind of content, please like the video, maybe leave a comment and subscribe to the channel, because I will be making more like this in the future. And that's everything. I will see you in the next one. Bye.